Alright, it's a bit windy, but I'm here in Kefalonia on the western side of the island, across the isthmus. Isthmus is, well, you can't really see it well over there. Uh, but that's the high point on the northeastern side of the island. Isthmus is going to be down below, connects the western side, which I'm on, the eastern side. Can't see it very well here, but the island is shaped like an upside down U. See a little bit of the bay over there, which will be the inside of the upside down U. And over here, I'm on the western side of the island. See the ocean. Beautiful spot. But why here? Why why am I here? This island, Kefalonia, is right next to Ithaca. Ithaca would be the other side of these hills. It's another island, much smaller. And it's been, the island now named Ithaca has been held as the homeland of Odysseus from the Odyssey for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks said that's Ithaca, and there's a bunch of evidences for it. But a modern archaeologist has said, no, that's not right. And he has reason. He's not just speaking out of his butt. The main reason is because it doesn't match the description that Homer gave. Now, a lot of people look at stuff like what the Bible says about location, what ancient texts like the Iliad and the Odyssey say, and kind of dismiss it, right? Which is not totally unfair, right? These books also talk about Hera or Athena coming down and intervening, right? So a little bit skeptical of that. However, a lot of areas from the Bible have been found using descriptions in the Bible. Of course, we're not talking now about the Bible. It's just another ancient text that's been useful in a similar regard for archaeology. The Iliad and the Odyssey, the text has been used to find many major and important settlements like Troy. And so there's a lot of reason to take what the text says seriously. And the archaeologist's name is Brittlestone. He said, well, when you look at Ithaca, Homer describes it as the westernmost island in the Ionian Sea. So I'm on the western side of Kefalonia, and over to the east is Ithaca. So Brittlestone's right. It doesn't match the description given by Homer. And he thought, so Kefalonia, it's U-shaped. There's another part of the description Homer gives that it has a view of three bays on three different sides with a water channel. It's not exactly a bay, a channel. And this part of the western island of Kefalonia sort of works with that. There's two bays you can see on the western and on the northern side. And you can see the bay in the middle, but there's no water channel. Well, what Brittlestone thought is, if you look at the island of Kefalonia, it's a U shape. And the top of it's an upside down U shape. And the top of the upside down U, if you look at it on a map, it's not very thick. Go ahead, Google Kefalonia, Google Images, right, or Google Maps. It's not very thick. And he thought, well, there's going to be probably something, because this is Kefalonia and Ithaca are on a fault line. So there's earthquakes. There's a massive earthquake here within the last century. Destroyed much of the structures on the island. So it makes sense. But how do you eliminate a whole channel? His theory was that one side of the island would have been broken off by an earthquake. And when he led an archaeology team do some drilling. They drilled deep inside that isthmus, and they found a lot of things, fossils, evidence, suggesting they're about 3,000 years old. And so in the middle, you drill down hundreds of feet, and then you find fossils 3,000 years old that wouldn't have been there. Makes some sense. This might actually check out. One of the big problems with that, though, is ancient writer Strabo did describe the island before 1 AD, and the island, as he described it, matches the geography today. So it's a little bit hard to tell. Brittlestone's theory has something to it, but it has more holes. But one of the interesting things with the height overlooking the bay, he identified this hill right here be the Acropolis of Ithaca. So this is where he thought Odysseus would have lived, right there. Now, there's not much in the way of ruins here. What there is scattered, small, and one of the big problems that we do have is when we look for Greek ruins of the time, essentially the Greek culture of the period of the Iliad was largely Mycenaean, or there are things that even if they're not really Mycenaean, we call it Mycenaean. It's, rough way we group it. And there's some Mycenaean tombs. This is what's called, they're called beehive tombs because they're stones stacked like a beehive. They're all over in Greece and southern Italy. And there are some Mycenaean beehive tombs. There's a Mycenaean necropolis on Kefalonia. The problem, though, is it's not on the western side that Brittlestone was saying would be Ithaca. It's on the it's on the western side of the eastern side of Kefalonia. So it doesn't match his story. We do have ancient presence that's substantial, but not on this side. And if the strongest point of Brittlestone's argument is when we read Homer, Ithaca is supposed to be the westernmost island in the Ionian Sea. Kefalonia, the eastern side, if Kefalonia was two parts, the eastern side of Kefalonia isn't the westernmost. It's the western side of Kefalonia, which we don't really have that archaeological evidence for. And when we look at the island of Ithaca, we do have a Bronze Age palace built roughly around the time of the Iliad. Sorry, some very loud goats might be annoying them. And we also have what's called the School of Homer. I'll go over to there tomorrow and see it. School of Homer. This is not going to be a great definition. I'm going to go back to this tomorrow and give you a better one, but it's roughly speaking a cult. So whatever you think of a cult, it's not cult when we use it in historical terms. It's not quite what we think of as a cult today, but essentially ancient Greeks held what we now call the island of Ithaca to be Ithaca, the homeland of Odysseus. And there was a cult of Odysseus on the island of Ithaca with pottery shards dating back to at least 800 BC. So 2,800 years ago, we know that Ithaca, well, as we call it today, was held to be the Ithaca of Odysseus. So, archaeologists and historians, a lot of them don't think there's much to it. They don't think Odysseus was real. They don't think he lived here. It is what it is. But As far as one of them would, let's see, give it a second. As far as archaeologists and historians say, what could be, what matches, what evidence we have, the island of Ithaca is the best candidate. We'll be back for more of that tomorrow.